Would you dare to drive on a road where the clouds aren't above you, but under your tires? Welcome to 2,050 feet in the air. Look down. If you fell from here, you'd have enough time to regret your entire life before you hit the water. This isn't a sci-fi movie. This is the Huajiang Canyon Bridge in China. When it opens in late 2025, it will officially become the highest bridge in human history. It stands nearly twice the height of the Eiffel Tower. It makes the famous Golden Gate Bridge look like a tiny toy. But here is the craziest part. They built this monster right in the middle of a death zone, a gorge with hurricane-force winds. That can blow a truck off the road. So why did they attempt the impossible? And how do you build a highway in the sky without falling? Buckle up, we are going into the clouds. First, you have to understand where we are. This is Guizhou Province, southwest China. They call it the Museum of World Bridges, but geologists have another name for it, a nightmare. 92% of this land is mountains and deep gorges. It's like the Earth's crust was smashed with a giant hammer. For centuries, the Huajiang Canyon, massive crack in the earth, has been a wall stopping everything. If you lived on one side and wanted to cross to the village, you can see right across the gorge. You couldn't just walk over. You had to drive down a terrifying, twisting mountain road for 70 minutes. One slip on those roads, and it's game over. China needed a fix. They are building the massive G56 expressway to connect the rich East Coast to the borders of Southeast Asia. But this canyon was the final boss. The mission was simple but insane. Cut that 70-minute death drive down to just 60 seconds. So, how do you span a gap that is nearly a mile wide, 1,420 meters at a height where airplanes usually fly? Engineers looked at every option. A beam bridge? No way. The pillars would be too tall to stand an arch bridge. Impossible. The span is too wide. There was only one choice left: a suspension bridge. But this wasn't going to be a normal suspension bridge. The ground here is treacherous. It's karst limestone, basically, rock that looks solid but is full of holes and cracks like Swiss cheese. If you put a heavy tower on it, the ground could literally crack open and swallow the bridge. The solution? They didn't just build on the ground. They performed surgery in the ground. To hold up a bridge this heavy, you need anchors. Massive ones. On the Zhangfeng side of the canyon, the ground was flat enough. So they went with the brute force method. They poured a gravity anchor, a solid block of concrete as big as 65 Olympic swimming pools. It's so heavy that not even a tornado could move it. But on the other side, the Guanling side, they had a problem. The cliff was too steep. There was no room for a concrete block, so the engineers did something genius. They used the mountain itself. They dug a massive tunnel deep into the rock face, called a tunnel anchor, and bolted the main cables directly into the heart of the mountain. The mountain became the anchor. It's a brilliant move that saved money and kept the bridge from sliding into the abyss. Now the towers are up. Tower number 6 stands 860 feet tall. That's taller than the Space Needle in Seattle. But how do you get the first wire across a gap that deep? In the old days, they used helicopters or even rockets. But this is 2024. They used heavy lift drones. A drone flew the first pilot line across the gorge in minutes, battling strong crosswinds. From that thin line, they pulled thicker and thicker cables until they built the catwalk, the temporary path for workers. Then came the main cables. These aren't just ropes. Each cable weighs 9,000 tons and can hold a load of 60,000 tons. They are strong enough to lift an aircraft carrier out of the water. But the biggest enemy? The wind. This canyon acts like a wind tunnel. Gusts can hit level 14, that's hurricane strength. To fight this, they didn't just guess. They installed a smart monitoring system with sensors everywhere, feeding data to a control center miles away. If the wind gets too dangerous, the system halts construction instantly by late 2024. The steel deck segments were lifted into place using the world's largest cable crane. 93 massive pieces of steel floating in the sky, stitched together one by one. Then came the moment of truth, the load test. Imagine this. They drove 96 heavy-duty trucks, fully loaded, onto the bridge at the same time. That's 3,700 tons of weight. Pressing down on the fresh steel, engineers watched the sensors breathlessly. Did the deck bend? Did the cables stretch too much? The result? The bridge didn't just hold, it barely flinched. It was ready. But China didn't just build a highway. They built a destination. Knowing this bridge offers one of the craziest views on Earth, they added something unique. Right at the top of the bridge tower, 2,000 feet in the air, they built a glass bar and cafe. Yes, you heard that right. You can sip a latte while looking down at a drop that would make a skydiver sweat. There's also a glass-bottom walkway under the deck for the adrenaline junkies. It's not just infrastructure, it's an extreme sport. The Huajiang Canyon Bridge is more than just concrete and steel. It's a message. It proves that with enough engineering firepower, humanity can tame even the wildest corners of our planet. From a 70-minute nightmare drive to a 60-second flight across the sky. So here's the real question. Would you be brave enough to walk on that glass bridge 2,000 feet up? Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this deep dive into extreme engineering. Smash that like button and subscribe to Disaster Nexus. We have more mega projects coming your way. Thanks for watching and stay curious.